in time. We'll start recording. There we go. Right, we're going. Brilliant. Hello, and welcome to another episode of That Made Your List, a weekly podcast where an average, ordinary film fan, me, interviews other average, ordinary film fans. My name is Dave Kudger, and joining me in the hot seat this week is Brooklyn Vail. Hello, Brooklyn.
Hello, how are we doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining me.
No problem.
Before we get started with the questions, just why don't you tell myself and the other, I think we're up to 9 different listeners, a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. I'm 24 years old. I am from St. Peter's Bay in Prince Edward Island, Canada. We're like just a little island there off on the East Coast. I'm a chef by trade, but I wouldn't say movies are like my big thing. I'm sure you as well got into this via the Schmarm, like that movie trivia kind of thing. I would honestly say that trivia is kind of my thing, but then movies come second. Like any kind of pop culture is my dig. But yeah, I've watched a fair share of movies, and I think that I have a half decent opinion.
Yeah, fantastic, brilliant. Well, I'd say it's I myself, I'm a massive fan of the Schmodown and the movie trivia. I like my films. If there's ever a quiz on anywhere, I tend to be listening out and answer the questions myself. So yeah, trivia is another big thing for me as well. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll shoot into the list. Starts off with big one of the hardest questions on there to actually pin down to a single film. What is your favourite film?
So this question for me was much easier than anticipated. This is, of course, the Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson classic, A Few Good Men. Yes. This is one that I can rewatch many a time. And Aaron Sorkin's script, actually based on Aaron Sorkin's play, just phenomenal dialogue. Courtroom dramas have a soft spot for me. Just that it is the dialogue itself that makes the film. Phenomenal casting as well. Tom Cruise, Demi Moore, Kevin Pollak, and there are big names that have such small supporting roles like Cuba Gooding Jr., Kiefer Sutherland, Jack Nicholson as the villain, Kevin Bacon, and it just all together, it just makes, in my mind, a flawless film.
No, absolutely. As I say, Aaron Sorkin, in my opinion, probably one of the best writers of screen dialogue around. Not that much film-wise, but his work on Newsroom and The West Wing especially, is for me, the holy grail of TV programs.
Yeah, for sure.
Such well written.
He's one of few people that, like, in terms of like directors, like when you hear a film is written by Aaron Sorkin, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go see that movie. Yeah, like he's up there on my mind with a Tarantino or like a Scorsese.
Yeah, definitely. The director Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
Stand By Me, Princess Bride and Misery. There's 3 films. If you're going to put up with what you've got, pretty good company of films there to tap off, especially with this one as well. It's
for sure,
a good one. One of the most well-known quotes again with the whole "You can't handle the truth."
You can't handle the truth. Yeah. One that goes like that. Like, I know it lost the Oscar that year to Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood movie.
Yes.
But I think A Few Good Men has aged well and like just kind of stands throughout time as that classic. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, in that quote voted number 29 in the AFI list of quotes. It's, pretty decent showing from there. Brilliant. I'd say a good film. It's one that you can watch and rewatch and get more from it each time as well. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And like just not the evolution, but like the arc of Tom Cruise's character, like Kathy. I remember his last name, but how he goes from I'm gonna get a plea deal here so that I can get a set of steak knives to we're gonna prove these guys are not guilty. I won't spoil the ending for anybody who's listening, but yeah, he fights tooth and nail
for a 25-year-old film.
Yeah,
26-year-old film. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. We're moving on then. What was the last film you watched, either at home on your couch or out in the cinema?
So technically, since I made this list, there have been 4 or 5 movies that I've watched since. Actually, I watched 2 today. I watched American Gangster and The Truman Show, and then I watched Black Panther over the weekend, and I also watched Young Frankenstein.
Okay, fantastic.
But the one that I wanted to talk about the most, and this actually spawned off of my wife and I were watching the Cloverfield Paradox one night, and we got we got halfway through, and my wife's like, "This movie kind of sucks. Can we change it to something else?" So I was like, "Yeah, I agree. Like, let's change it." So we ended up popping on Jon Favreau's Chef, and
right.
That's that's a phenomenal movie, and this is the movie that I really want to talk about. Jon Favreau is, of course, he plays I forget what his name is, but it's a chef that's in the fine dining world. He gets burnt out, or he doesn't get burnt out, but there's this reviewer that throws him down after Jon Favreau gives him his all in terms of menu development and just trying to push that edge. So his character snaps. He lets out on this reviewer, and it gets onto the internet. So John says, "All right, I know there was an idea that was brought up to other people by me, so I'm actually going to try this out." And he opens up a food truck. He opens up a food truck with his with a couple of buddies of his and his son, and they tour across the U.S. They're Cuban inspired. I know the Cuban sandwich is their main staple, but they do go back and they go to the different cities and they specialize. I know in New Orleans they do beignets and po' boys and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, in any film, Jon Favreau, that character that he plays, is the one that I relate to the most, just because I had a similar path in my industry. I started off in fine dining when I was a chef. I got burnt out by it, and then it's actually that road of food truck is where I want to take. So when I saw this film, I was like, all right, John is me. So
fantastic. It's only when you got to the food truck part of that it actually triggered into my head. I've not sat down and watched it all myself. I know I've sort of been in and around the room when my wife's been watching it. My wife watched it, and it was towards the end, and it was the food truck part of it that reminded. She really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's one that there you go. Second question in. I've already got one film to add to my list that of everyone that been on here on the podcast so far. Everyone's contributed at least one from their questions. So nice. early contribution there. Cloverfield Paradox. Not the best, is it? Really?
No, I was like, it was like half an hour into it. I'm like, yeah, this movie sucks. There's nothing really about it. And then, my wife's like, this movie, like for her it was scary. Me not so much. But I was like, yeah, I can easily change this, and I won't be mad about missing the rest of it. So I was glad that we picked Chef.
Yeah, a poor man's Event Horizon.
Yeah, I would
with
that.
Some rip-offs of Gravity and plot holes big enough to swallow one of the Cloverfield monsters as well. It's not the best. I just didn't like when I saw it on Netflix. It was like, oh, this thriller thing. Like, I'm not a huge horror person, but I do like thrillers, and the first half an hour or so, it's like I'm not really like that. I don't feel a lot of suspense here. Like, I don't feel very tense. Like, it's just kind of this procedural kind of deal. But yeah. What did you think to Black Panther? We saw that Monday evening.
I saw that Sunday afternoon. Black Panther was good. Definitely one of the, I would say it's like above average MCU films.
Yes.
There are a couple of things that I don't like, and I don't want to get into spoiler territory.
A little bit too early for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, brilliant, fantastic. So moving on then, what's your favourite action adventure film?
So this one was kind of tough for me. There were a couple that I had in mind. Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol was one that I initially had here, but then after thinking about it, I was like, if I'm going to talk about this, I need to have this franchise somewhere on my list. And I felt like this would be the best place to put it. Yeah. And that would actually be a movie that got shit on with Ryan's podcast. That is Captain America: Civil War.
Oh yes. I
love this film. Like, similar to A Few Good Men, watch it 3 or 4 times, and I just get that same excitement, and like the action as well. Like, when you go to that shot that they have, that it looks like it's literally out of a double-page comic when they're coming together.
Yeah.
just top notch action. And like a lot of people give it gripe for it being not a Captain America movie, but more so Avengers 2.5.
Yeah.
I disagree. This is very much so a Captain America film. You get to see him deal with Crossbones, as well as a more psychological villain in terms of Baron Zemo. Makes him turn on his friend Bucky. And like what I like about it as well is throughout the movie, you see Captain America and Iron Man like interchange between villain and hero. Like
Absolutely.
At some points you agree with Captain America, at some points you agree with Iron Man.
No, absolutely. It's one of those ones where it is a Captain America film.
Yeah, oh yeah,
he is at the centre of the storyline. But as you're right, you're there, and I'm like, I've watched it. I mean, I'll Team Iron Man all the way. I'm like, I'm sorry, there must be rules. You must have rules. These are the rules. You play by them. But yeah, likewise, you're like, yeah, but we've been doing all right. So yeah, I love it. It's my favourite Marvel.
Yeah, and then even
Marvel
like.
film.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's number one on my MCU list as well.
Yeah.
And like how they handled Spider-Man in this film, was fucking unreal.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, he's only there for like 5-10 minutes, but that moment when he turns into Giant Man, that was oh my god, this is awesome. Just there's so many great things about this movie.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the Russo brothers as well that really knocked it out of the park. Primarily TV directors. It's like, where have you come from with all this? It's unheard of. A great choice.
Yeah.
Okay. For a guy that's just admitted you're not a big horror fan, what's your favourite horror?
So I've only watched 3 horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
The other 2 that I've watched are, and I wouldn't even classify one of them as a horror. The Number 23 and The Mist.
Yep.
So the one that I go to is more so a horror comedy. My brother got me into this film, and it's when it stands out for me. There are still some like scary moments, but I enjoyed it the only time that I watched it, and that was Joss Whedon's Cabin in the Woods.
Oh yes, actually,
yeah.
I was talking about this with a colleague at work, literally just this morning. It gets a little bit out there at times, but
yeah. It's definitely like it's like a spoof of the horror genre. They kind of take all these different tropes and combine them together. Robert Duvall, Chris Hemsworth, both all have really good performances in that movie. Sigourney Weaver at the end, kind of explaining it all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it has like it was. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie, but it was shot. I remember it's being shot very well. Again, with Joss Whedon, his writing is pretty well spot on. And then as well to hear that like he wrote this over a weekend with his buddy, and to come up with easily one of the best horror films of the past few years.
No, I say absolutely nothing wrong. Written with obviously directed credit by Drew Goddard. His only real motion picture directorial credit. But yeah, to write a film like that just over 3 days, and then there you go. Yeah, we're good to go. Let's go.
For sure.
Yeah, it's good, cool. Completely changed from one to the other. And what's your favourite drama?
So this one was a little bit tougher than the horror one. There were a couple, like once again, that I was kind of fudging around with. Gone Girl is one that I wanted to mention. Moneyball, Social Network, but the one The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, those ones.
Yep.
But I have to go to one of the first films that I saw, and one that again sticks with me, and that is Tom Hanks' Forrest Gump.
Oh, absolutely amazing! Our lists coincide here.
Yeah.
This is my favourite drama as well.
It's
just a truly amazing film.
Yeah, and and for me, I have a soft spot for people on the spectrum, because my wife and my mother both deal with people with intellectual disability, special needs. So just watching him interact with people, and once again that arc that he has is just it hits you.
Yeah, No, absolutely. I mean, winner of 6 Oscars. But, I mean, I've been through this on, I think, numerous times as it's been on here. Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Writing, Best Editing, Best Effects, and 7 other nominations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
How Gary Sinise did and went. Was Gary Sinise nominated that year?
Yes, he was nominated for Best Supporting.
How he didn't win, that surprises me a lot.
No, absolutely. No, it's just the editing and the effects of getting the young Hanks there with playing table tennis and meeting the president and meeting the president of China, and yeah, it's brilliant film. Although one thing I did pick out,
yeah,
go on. No, go.
Oh no, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, like, when you bring up the presidents, like, and like how Tom stays in character and kind of gets the mannerisms while interacting with people.
Yes.
To me, that's why he got the Oscar.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's there. It's the voice. It's a very distinctive voice of his. I always remember.
Oh yeah.
He got that voice and came to that voice because he copied the voice of the child who played the young Forrest.
Yeah.
That's how he got there. Just like, well,
nice.
I need to sound like this child that was there before. So it's like he mimicked his voice to get that, and it's very distinctive. Such a distinctive character, just in general. In equal parts, absolutely laugh out loud, hilarious, and then tears down your face, heartbreakingly sad. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, lightening the load, taking us from one extreme to the other. Then, what's your favourite comedy?
Without a doubt, no hesitation. This is one that is very much so quoted in my household, and you'll see part of this later on the list. That is Airplane.
Oh my!
Love this movie, and this defines the comedy that I like. It's that deadpan delivery that Leslie Nielsen gives. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. There's so many things.
It's number 2 on my list, behind Monty Python, Holy Grail. This is number 2 on the list. I sat down with my two boys, that are 8 and 11 now. Sat them down on there and said, right, I'm introducing you to funny films now, and we watched Holy Grail and then Airplane. And yeah, such from scene after scene after scene to joke after joke, they just come so quick. You're still laughing at the one before when the other one's hit you and gone past you, and you have to stop and rewind it again to watch it to make sure you hit it. Superb.
Yeah, and what they're able to do with such like a serious tone, like when he's listing off all the symptoms from the poisoning, and the pilot just goes on like the one after the other, choking and then foaming at the mouth. There's so many things to talk about of that film, and I think that is one of the best spoof movies ever, and one that is going to be hard to top. I know that's a genre of comedy that doesn't really get touched anymore, and when it does, it gets turned to shit. But yeah, Airplane is one of the best of its time.
No, without a doubt. As you say, it's the deadpan jokes. It's done so brilliant. It's done on purpose with the castings. Lloyd Bridges and Leslie Nielsen, 2 of the funniest men around for Naked Gun and everything else like that. It was their first comedic roles. They were straight men before filming. They weren't known as they were cast as that, so they could give the deadpan straight to it, and people would believe them as being deadpan with the lines. It's such a great film. Cost $3.5 million to make and was finished making in 34 days.
Wow.
Yeah, what a turnaround.
Wow.
What a turnaround. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, tailing on from that, bringing this back a little bit with it. Name a film that makes you happy.
This one is from the 90s. I know the sequel got mentioned on Jeremy Adams' podcast. As I think that was a script that he memorized. But I have to go with the original for the one that makes me happy is Wayne's World.
Oh yes.
It's just one. It's one that I can rewatch and I can get giddy wherever it is. It's that like no like nobody cares kind of mentality.
Yes.
Just do whatever. And yeah, Mike Myers, Dana Carvey, great chemistry on the camera.
Obviously, bringing out from the characters that started on Saturday Night Live, and into the big screen with it. Fantastic.
Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, go on.
Oh no. Yeah, and like, what was I going to go on about? How they go on about the different endings too, and like how they kind of once again, similar to Airplane, they satirize different things. Like they're like, oh, who's the real person? Who's the real person under I think it was like Rob Lowe's character. And it's like old man Withers. I would have got away with you too. So, it pokes my satirical comedy side once again, and I'm kind of at a loss for words here, but
no, it's good. Obviously, again, another one with an iconic scene is the Bohemian Rhapsody in the car.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah,
repeated by absolutely everybody and everything. What was it? I can't remember now. Yeah, but someone was talking about it just last week about it. But no, fantastic. Okay, flipping that on its head, going completely 180 with it. Name a film that makes you sad.
This is one of the few films that made me cry ever while watching, and that would be Pixar's Inside Out.
Yeah, yes.
This was sad from beginning to end. I mean, the death of Bingbo. It was actually that part. It was that part that didn't make me cry. It was after when she realized sadness had to be a part of her life, and I think it was the completion of her character arc that really got me. That really got me there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm agreeing with you 100%. It was the last film that made me cry in at the big screen in the cinema. Went to see it with my wife and my two children. Obviously, the protagonist is a girl. I've got two boys, but it's the whole. It touched a nerve with me, without a doubt. I looked over at my wife. My wife was wiping a tear away from her eyes. One was halfway down my tears. I'm like looking the opposite way so my boys don't see me and laugh at me for crying. But no, Pixar, when Pixar get it right, oh God, they get it right.
I mean, like, geez, the first 10 minutes of Up. I haven't seen it yet, but Coco is supposed to be one of the saddest movies of 2017.
Yes.
But for me, I think it's one of the things that makes Inside Out sad is that is joy, and it's that her almost denial of sadness, and it's like, we got to be happy all the time. We have to put on this mask, and then I think it's her finally realizing once again that sadness needs to be a part of life so that we can accept it. Otherwise, we're just running away from all the problems that we have.
No, again, yeah, absolutely. Right, let's bring it back up from a sadness thing. Name a film you practically know the entire script of.
This one I wouldn't know so much now, but back when I was like 7, 8, 9, one I could almost recite from start to finish, and that is Shrek.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what it is about that movie, but I watched it like at least once a week for a good while. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Mike Myers. I had a great all-star cast: Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, Jonathan Lithgow.
Yep.
And for me, I think it was just like the different voices, the play on these typical fairy tale characters: Pinocchio, Three Blind Mice, Three Little Pigs, and Eddie Murphy, surprisingly, as sort of the comic relief. The fact that a donkey hooks up with a female dragon, that's just yeah. I mean, in terms but yeah, just one that's very very quotable as well. I really liked John Lithgow's performance as Lord Farquaad.
Yes.
it was a typical John Lithgow character, but he nailed it right on the head.
No, yeah, it's kind of a renaissance for Eddie Murphy, because he'd faded a little bit and obviously gone with a couple of absolute stinkers, but then came out of nowhere as Donkey and really stole the film for me. Is there a comic relief in a comedic film is really quite an impressive turn of events for it.
And it worked out well for them, because they had Shrek 2, in my opinion, is actually better than Shrek.
Yes.
Shrek 3 was okay. I haven't seen Shrek the Fourth, but like a solid franchise out of DreamWorks. But yeah, like they took this kind of twist on all these fairy tale creatures, coming together, and they did it well. Yes. But yeah, once again, like another quotable movie, and for some reason I just watched it every day.
No, fantastic. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the serious ones. Who's your favourite director?
So this one was a little bit tougher. I don't really say that I have a favorite director, but the one that kind of leaps out to me the most, I would have to say, is actually David Fincher, and I would say that just because he collaborates with Aaron Sorkin so much. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think Aaron Sorkin wrote the script, but Gone Girl, one of the best movies of 2014.
Yep.
That one was just was a thrill ride. Took you every which direction. Moneyball was great. Social Network was another phenomenal one. Mm-hmm. Took a modern story and told it beautifully. The one that's gonna stay as one of the greats for at least the next decade or so. And then you got Fight Club. I know we had a kind of a rough start with Aliens 3.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, it was a music video director up until Alien 3. Came from nowhere to get a big budget, well-known franchise like that. And yeah, he was on a hide into nothing following Aliens anyway, I think. But it came from nowhere. But go on.
Oh no! I was going to say as well, the Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Yes. Even like going that technological route of telling this different story about a man who ages in reverse. So it's kind of taking that kind of thing as well. But yeah, I think for me it's that. It's like the realistic kind of color palette that he uses, as well as like the writing that he usually gets from Aaron Sorkin. The casting choices that he has are for the most part pretty spot on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like all of his, I'd say for a most part, his movies are in my like top 20, top 30, like the most consistent director in my list.
No, absolutely. I mean, you talk about the cast that he picks and the talents he's worked with. Obviously, Sigourney Weaver in Alien 3, Brad Pitt, Kevin Spacey, Morgan Freeman in 7, Michael Douglas and Sean Penn in The Game. I really enjoy The Game. That's really massively underrated by a lot of people.
That's actually one that I get to watch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Pitt again in Fight Club. Jodie Foster. Yeah, Jodie Foster in Panic Room. Jodie Foster in Panic Room.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. and Jake Gyllenhaal in Zodiac.
Zodiac is another one that is very much so. I wouldn't say it's underrated, but it just doesn't get talked enough about.
Yeah.
Considering
it's
like
on the radar of people who people know about it, and it's a good film, but it's one that it drifts under a lot of people's radar. Yeah, he's worked with some big name talent. So a lot of it is, brilliant. Okay, favourite film from your childhood?
Toy Story 2, no questions asked. This is one of the first films that I remember watching in theaters, and for a long time it was my favorite animated film of all time. To me, it is the best of the Toy Story films, and the characters that are brought into it, as well as as well as the changing of it not being about Woody, but it's now being about Buzz. Like surprisingly, it being about Buzz finding his father. Woody as well having this kind of side story of finding the other people the other toys that he came from. Once again, another quotable film. I mean, whenever Rex is going to the whenever they try to get to the vent, Rex is like, "What are we gonna do, Buzz?" And the Buzz says, "Use your head." Well, I don't want to use my head.
Yep, no, absolutely. I mean, this is one that okay, you're making me feel old now. This is this is obviously came out in 1999.
Yeah,
it's. I think the Toy Story trilogy. Obviously, they're making a fourth one, but the trilogy at the moment absolutely turns on its head the general rule for sequels of law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
For me, three is near as animated film perfection as you can get. It's just an emotional bow around a fantastic series of films. It's for me, it's three there, but two, absolutely, it builds on the first.
Yeah, I don't think you get the perfection of three without that sort of character development into the struggle with once again with Buzz and his father, and then like this new route that they took of them being kidnapped, and like it's actually like Toy Story 2 is actually somewhat of an action film. Like they have to escape this plane. They have to escape. What's his name? Pete. Minor. He's like a minor,
Al.
but he has a.
Is it Al?
Oh yeah, Al.
Pete.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Al
Stinky
from
Pete.
Yeah, Stinky Pete. But yeah, but also as well, Al from Al's Toy Farm or Toy Barn. Sorry.
Yes.
But just one that resonates with me. It's a great ensemble cast that holds up still to this day.
No, yeah. Again, I'll not. I can't argue with two being better than three. As a trilogy, they are probably one of. Well, they're definitely up in the top three, 4 for me of best trilogies of all time. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay then. So, leading on a little bit from there, what's your favourite animated?
So for the longest time, this was actually The Incredibles.
Yes.
The Incredibles was my best animated movie, but this is one that actually just got released last year, and this will be taking over that top spot, and that is Lego Batman.
Oh, yeah.
God, I love that movie.
Yeah.
It's just it's the color of the film. It's that meta humor that you get. Will Arnett, Michael Cera, Zach Galifianakis. It's that humor that you got from the first Lego movie that they brought over. It's beautiful. How it didn't get nominated for an Oscar is crazy. Like how it pokes fun at Batman. Like it's something that the fans definitely wanted after the iffy DCU track record. So I think it was a nice kind of almost like a palate cleanser for DC. They were able to kind of poke fun at themselves. Definitely one of the best spin-off movies in forever. I know we were talking about spoof movies earlier, but one of the best spoof movies since the 90s, pretty well. But yeah, great performances all around, and like similar to Airplane that you're talking about, it's that witty humor. Like Michael Cera as Dick Grayson, he's like, "Oh, some people call me Dick," and Will says, "Well, I guess, people sometimes call you bad names."
Yeah, it's a great one. I mean, I saw the cinema with the children and the family went and whole, and yeah, it was absolutely hysterics. It pokes fun at just the right amount to bring in the adults, the Noah in the audience.
Yeah, it's one of few films that actually had me grinning from start to finish.
Yes, yeah, no, fantastic film. Okay, I got a feeling I know pretty much where the film that this will come from. What's your favourite quote from any film?
Surely you can't be serious.
Oh,
I I am being serious. Don't call me Shirley.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
Fantastic.
once again, and for me, this defines this defines that deadpan style of humor. It's this as well as what's our Victor Victor, what's our Clarence, Roger.
Yeah.
It's those kind of things that are quoted with my dad especially. Just stuff that's like, yeah, reminiscent of once again that dry humor, and I think that quote sums it up perfectly.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a great one, and when you're putting it on there, when it comes up, I can't help it. Even now, I mean, I can picture it now. I've got a massive grin on my face. It's
Yeah.
yeah, no, a superb choice, absolutely superb
Yeah.
choice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, what's the best film you've seen in the past year?
So I was torn between this one and another one, but actually both of them will be on the list because one of them classifies for a spot that comes up later on the list. So the one I'm going to talk about for this spot is Spotlight.
Okay, I've not seen it.
Yeah, it's the Best Picture winner. It stars Michael Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Mark Ruffalo. It is about the Boston Globe and how they're trying to come after the priest sexual abuse scandal that's come out the city, and it's this great procedural drama. Stellar performances. Mark Ruffalo steals that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Leif Schreiber as the editor, he plays a totally different character that you would normally expect him to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it's about discovering the truth and doing what's right, and it takes some dark tones.
Yeah.
Like they go into some pretty graphic detail as to what happens.
Okay.
And yeah, like it's kind of like it's also this thing as well about tradition versus like again doing what's right, because initially some of the higher ups are against him doing this. We're like, hey, like you're gonna do this in Boston, like a very Catholic city. Like, what are people gonna like? People are gonna believe you, and they're like, oh well, we actually have almost 100 people claiming that these priests did these horrible things to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I think as well what they did at the end really helped that realistic kind of feel, because at the end of the movie they had here's locations of where all these claims took place.
Yeah.
And as at the end as the city's scrolling by, I was like, oh, I'll be curious to see which ones were in Canada. And I saw all the places in Canada, and I was like, I saw one of the locations, and I'm like, I can almost tell you the exact priest that it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it hit home. But yeah, it's one that was once again like this the great casting, the great performances, and it hit hard. Yeah.
Okay. No, brilliant. Yeah, it is one that's already on up in my head. I need to watch it. It's just a matter of now of sitting down and at the right time with the right film in the right available.
It was literally I was supposed to work that day, but there was a storm, so work got called off, and I was like, oh, let's see what movies what movies are on my list. Spotlight was on there, so I was like, oh, let's watch this. It was really good.
Okay, cool. Okay, moving on. Who is your favourite actor?
So for the longest time, this was Jim Carrey. But after watching Jim and Andy, I kind of lost a little bit of respect for him. He came off really douchey. In that documentary, just kind of like, oh, how Andy kind of took me over, and that excused his irrational behavior on the set of that film. Yep. He did kind of make up for that. Like I recently watched him in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and he kind of redeemed himself a little bit, but he is no longer my favorite actor. So I'm gonna have to go with an actor I mentioned previously, and that's Tom Hanks.
Yeah. It's. I think by the time we've actually got quite a few people on here, this may well end up being what's known as the correct answer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
his body of work is just absolutely phenomenal. Even if he's in the not the best film in the world,
No.
Joe versus the
but
Volcano. He
Yeah.
himself is good in it.
Yeah,
It's-
and he has great performances throughout. Like you think about it, like the man's been in two trilogies, Toy Story and the Dan Brown series.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that I have watched of those is Angels and Demons, and I did like it.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
I've read all the books. I've read the books.
Oh yeah.
I prefer the books to the film.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just by the by. They're a good sit down when you're on holiday. Sit down and just open and you can forget everything and you play through and you finished it before you know it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like his resume is incredible. Like you look at Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, The Terminal, Catch Me If You Can. Once again, all the Toy Story films. Wilson, what's the name of that? Castaway. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, even the Post, Captain
Yes.
Phillips. Just people often go to Daniel Day-Lewis as the best actor, but he's really nitpicky with his roles. I find Tom Hanks has a much wider resume.
Yeah.
But he's consistently like the top performance in each of his films.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis, yes, he's very, very good, but I think as I said, was it last week or the week before, he's done maybe 8 films. It's very easy if you're waiting for the perfect film role to come along, and that one, okay, let's go. But the amount of, I mean, just running through them quickly because I'm cheating and got it up on my phone. We've got Splash, The Man with One Red Shoe. Then Big, which is where he really started himself. Big, Jane and Hooch, The Burbs, Bonfire of the Vanities, Joe versus the Volcano, League of Their Own, Philadelphia. This is when he started being the big movie star. Then
For sure.
Sleepless in Seattle, Forrest Gump, then Toy Story, Apollo 13, That Thing You Do, You've Got Mail, Saving Private Ryan, Toy Story 2, Green Mile, Castaway, Road to Perdition, which is another one that doesn't get enough love on his resume. Catch Me If You Can, Terminal, Polar Express, Lady Killers, Da Vinci Code. He was in. He even had a part in the Simpsons movie. Charlie Wilson's
he did.
War. Yeah, Angels and Demons, Toy Story 3. Oh my God, yeah. It goes on and on and on and on, and then Captain Felix, Saving Mr. Banks.
Saving Mr. Banks is
Sully, Inferno, and then The Post. For a sheer amount of roles.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that his later performances are more these disaster drama kind of deals. But like you look at his earlier career, like he started off in these rom-com kind of deals, these coming of age films, and then he's worked his way into comedies, animated films, even a comic book adaptation in Road to Perdition.
Yeah.
Just such a versatile actor that you can fit him in anywhere, and he's like, all right, how am I gonna make the most of this?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I absolutely. There's not a bad performance from him in any of his films, even if the films themselves might not be the best. He not one that you can ever accuse of dialing it in. No, brilliant. Okay,
Yeah.
Go to the opposite end of that then. Favorite actress.
This one was pretty easy. Emma Stone.
Oh yes.
I fell in love with her with Superbad. Just kind of loved. I like that character that she played, and she's went onwards from there. I mean, La La Land, Battle of the Sexes. Just one I find is very relatable, and she's I don't know.
She's again. I'm pretty sure you're the second person to have this on here. It was earlier on. I think it was Chris Woodburn. I think himself had Emma Stone as an absolutely stunning actress, visually.
Yeah.
Young as well. She's still not even 30 yet.
Yeah, tons of potential as well.
Absolutely.
Something that I was kind of thinking about. One of the best parts of the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
Her chemistry with Andrew Garfield was pretty spot on.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I cannot fault that. And I say she's leading the list now.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
two for the same actress, so she's leading the list now.
And I think for me it's similar to Tom Hanks. It's that transition of these coming of age films to now she's taking on these more serious roles. And I know people have been calling her the new Meryl Streep, I guess, because she's getting Oscar noms every year.
Yeah.
She deserves them.
Yeah,
I won't lie.
No, absolutely. Okay, right. One of the most controversial questions on the list. Then this one always gets a little bit of a chat going. What is your most overrated film?
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, and I wouldn't expect it I wouldn't expect it any differently. 12 Years a Slave. Is just
really? Oh, okay. Stop. Halt. Wait. Desist. There's a reason that I call this podcast "That Made Your List" with the question.
Okay.
12 Years a Slave. The winner.
12 Years a Slave.
The winner of 3 Oscars.
Yep.
Nominated for another 6. Winner of a Golden Globe and nominated for another 6. 2 BAFTAs and nominated for 7. The first film directed and produced by a black filmmaker and written by an African American to win the Best Picture Oscar. That's your most overrated film.
For me, it is one singular performance that draws down the movie, and that's Michael Fassbender's performance as the villain. To me, he's not very evil. Like and it might be because of a certain review. When I watched Jeremy John's review before I saw the movie, he talked about how Michael Fassbender was this evil villain who had no line to cross, and how he tortured these slaves. So I watched it, and then for me, he was just kind of meh. And for me, when that I'm a huge fan of villains.
Yep.
When that performance is underwhelmed, I think it takes away from the other performances in that list. It makes Chiwetel Ejiofor's character like over suffering, similar to what's her name? She was recently in Black Panther. Her name starts with an L.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Lupita Nyong'o. Yeah, those performances, they become over exaggerated because there isn't a whole lot. There's more suffering than there is to be had. So for me, it's that singular performance of Michael Fassbender where he's not super evil, and for me that just it doesn't like it's a good movie. It's a good movie, but it's not the best pitch. It's not the best picture winner.
Okay, no problem. I mean, I understand the argument. He's not a very evil, but I think that is the beauty of it. Is you know he is bad, but he's not. He plays it in such a way that he's not evil. He's not the cackling maniacal villain as such.
No.
So maybe, but yeah. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I just want to pull up the list here of other Best Picture nominees, and but. Yeah, I understand that he's not this this comical villain, but for me, Leo DiCaprio in Django Unchained had more of a hate line as opposed to Michael Fassbender.
Okay, that's no problem.
Best Picture nominees 2014. I got nominated that year. Philomena, Nebraska, Captain Phillips, Her, 12 Years a Slave, Wolf of Wall Street needed to win that year by a mile. That was Leo's best performance, and that was a 3-hour movie. Did not feel like a 3-hour movie whatsoever. I'd even give to argue for Dallas Buyers Club and Kind of Gravity, just for technical.
Okay, look, as I say, I. One of the perks of being the host on my own podcast, I get to say what I want about him.
Sure.
No, it's. I love the film. I love the film.
Yeah.
The added importance of being such a culturally significant film as well. I think that played on it a lot more with people pushing it forward. But I can't argue myself personally with it. It is what it is. As you say, some people love it. Some people will be shouting at their phones, iPods, car stereos at us. Most agreeing with you more than likely, because I'm used to people not agreeing with me.
Actually, one of your former guests, Jeremy Adams, we were talking about this a couple days ago, and he was like, "I completely disagree with you. I think 12 Years a Slave is one of the most is a flawless film." So,
yeah. Oh, well, there you go. I'm in good company with Jeremy then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's flip this on its head then. What's your most underrated film?
Similar to how we were talking about, what movie was it that doesn't get talked? Road to Perdition that doesn't get talked about enough. Sherlock Holmes is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated films.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie. Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law have some of the best chemistry in any film ever, and I think people understand that it's a good film, but in my mind, it just doesn't get talked about enough on how great of a film it actually is. Great action, like the deductiveness that Robert Downey Jr. has. It's that style of thinking and how in each scene he breaks down how he's going to beat his opponents in a matter of milliseconds. The set design, the Mark Strong as the villain, he was great. Even some of the who played the main cop. He was kind of like the dumb-witted cop, but but Robert Downey Jr. he says to him, "It seems to me that we have a firm grasp of the obvious."
Yes, the guy who plays him, Lestrade, he's the epitome of he's that guy from that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my good God. Right, here we go. Pulled it up. He is Eddie Marsan.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah. He was great. He had a nice supporting role in there that I think that balanced it out from that kind of I know that Guy Ritchie has a certain style. Yes. So for him to kind of balance out a little bit is nice. Also, one of the best scores ever. Hans Zimmer has really good music in that film. One that kind of sticks with everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with you right there, shouting it from the rooftops. I love the film.
Yeah.
I like Guy Ritchie films. I even don't mind the King Arthur one, Legend of the Sword.
Yeah.
It's very much you can transplant how he makes it into it's a Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah.
All Guy Ritchie films are the same. You say you have that part where Sherlock Holmes is working out how he's beating them.
Yeah.
That's in every single Guy Ritchie film. And it's
pretty
one
well.
of the things that I really enjoy. The stop, slow down, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. Okay, speed back up, and here we go again. It's for me, it's a very unique narrative tool that I think not many other than him actually use. But then again, those that don't like it probably wouldn't appreciate it anyway.
Yeah, and I understand why people are kind of like, oh yeah, it's an okay movie. But I'll fight tooth and nail on how this is one of the greatest novel adaptations.
Yeah, no, it's as I say, I love it. I think it's one that I own and sitting behind me on my shelf.
Yep.
6 shelves of DVDs that are sitting behind me. Okay, fantastic. So, who is your favourite character from any film?
This this guy is played by a Canadian, the great Michael Myers. One that I'm actually surprised I haven't talked about yet on this list. This trilogy of films were some of my favorites. That would be Austin Powers.
Yeah, baby.
Similar to Wayne, it's just that silliness and I don't care. I'm gonna do this and I don't care who knows it. It's that dialed up to 11 kind of approach to things, and it's great. Between and him as well, and then that the dialogue as well between him and himself, essentially Dr. Evil. It's great, and how he has how he can somewhat how he can deduce things in this quirky way, and how he can take how he himself, I mean, it's between Mike Myers and the writing himself and the director, how they take this one scene and this one shot, and they can turn it into like burst out laughter. Like you look at it in Austin Powers 3, how they're doing the whole piss in a fountain thing. How they like oh, I'm just going to grab all the water, I'm going to grab asparagus. How that character can turn that into just parts where you're just pissing yourself laughing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's again, going back to a spoof. It's obviously it's a play on the 1960s James Bonds, and the like, but takes it in a completely different way and makes the character himself without it goes beyond the spoof into being his own fully fledged.
It'd be his own thing, yeah. Oh yeah.
No, absolutely. No, brilliant. Okay, one that's bringing up some fantastically obscure answers. Then, what's your favourite documentary?
I wouldn't be surprised if this documentary got mentioned later in your episodes. It's the one that is based on voice acting. Kind of all brought together by John DiMaggio, and he interviews these different voice actors on how to go about things. That, of course, is I Know That Voice.
Okay.
John DiMaggio, most famously the voice of Bender in Futurama. He interviews all these famous voice actors, such as June Foray, Hank Azaria. I'm pretty sure he interviews as well. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he voices Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. But that actor himself has done a buttload of different cartoon voices, and he just talks about the process. And for me, also being as a musician, and I know it's kind of weird to interpret it as that. It's that process of getting that voice and like in finding almost like a musical rhythm with the voice.
Yeah.
So it's how voice acting is very similar to music, and for me that's what drew my love of the documentary. And you get to see the face behind all these voices.
Yes. Yeah.
And
brilliant.
yeah,
it's not one I've heard of.
Oh yeah. I
believe
it's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
I know it's one that I definitely watched 5 or 6 times, but it's crazy how like especially like if you're a Simpsons fan, Hank Azaria goes on about how Lou is just a bad Stallone impression, how Mo is just a bad Pacino, and like how they derive from that. Seth Green is also in this one too, and he talks about how he auditioned for Chris Griffin, that he essentially just did a Buffalo Bill impression, and they kind of played off of that, and you can hear it somewhat in the shows when he goes to that lawyer. Sorry, not the lawyer, but the lower voice register. Yeah. How he gets to that, but yeah, it's crazy how these voices started and just work their way.
Brilliant! It's just one I'll have a look for then.
Yeah,
superb. Okay, right. Guilty pleasure time. Name a film that you like that no one would expect.
This movie gets a lot of hate. This is a movie that has supposedly killed off the career of the great Michael Myers. That would be The Love Guru.
Ooh, and here's the second one. That made your list, really?
Yeah. I like this. I like this movie. I understand it's bad. There are some things that are kind of cringeworthy. But I don't think that it's this steaming pile of garbage that everybody says that it is. There are moments in it that I find it funny. Justin Timberlake is really funny as Jacques Lecoq Grande. I know that was one that kind of there's some quotable moments in there, like what do you call a Quebec pizza? Pop-Tart with the ketchup. It's good. Being like. For me, like being a Canadian, like there's some Canadian stereotypes that they kind of play off on that I enjoyed. I actually didn't mind the Love Guru character itself. He had some funny bits. Ben Kingsley, like I know, like his is probably the worst of the performances. Like definitely racist in to say the least. But yeah, I think it's one that gets more hate than it should.
No, okay, I've seen it. Well, no, I'll tell a lie. I tried to see it 2 or 3
Yeah.
times and never got all the way through it. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
But I shall leave with you. I'll take your word. If it's one of those ones. I mean, I've got more than enough that is sitting behind you of films you can go on and say, "Oh my God, yeah, look, yeah, great. There's the Godfather trilogy. Oh my God, what are you doing with Wolverine Origins?" Yeah,
Yeah.
there's more than enough on my list that if people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones and all that. Right, okay, brilliant. What's your favourite classic film?
So this is one that I was going to mention earlier. I saw this within a couple days of seeing Spotlight, and this is actually the only classic movie that I've ever seen. I don't really have a vast DVD collection, so my sort of database of classic movies is Netflix right now. And my favorite classic movie of all time is The Godfather.
Oh, yes.
When I first saw this movie, I was like, "Man, this is really slow." But then at a certain point, it just picks up, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, this is real. There's a reason why this movie gets so much love, and I understand it now." Marlon Brando, phenomenal performance as the Godfather. He is. That is one of the best performances of all time for a reason. I found in this movie as well. I got a lot more respect for James Caan than I did before. When I first saw it, I'm like, "Oh shit, James Caan is in this film," and he gave a really good performance in this movie. Al Pacino, Robert Duvall. He's unrecognizable in that movie. But he's phenomenal. Like in terms of of this Italian mobster kind of film. And you see the influences that other directors get from this film. Like you can definitely tell that this is that Martin Scorsese is a huge fan of this film because there are influences that he takes from this film and brings them into his own.
Yes.
It's timeless.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's I find it really difficult to separate part 1 and part 2 in my head.
Yeah.
Purely because, as I've mentioned before, the way I've seen it first was I watched it was in a cut of chronological order, so I didn't watch part 1 and part 2. I was watching the young Vito, baby Vito as he ran away from there to young Vito to adult Vito, and then in to grown up Vito. I saw it in chronological order. So in my head, I have a 6.5 hour magnum opus of cinematic perfection as the Godfather's films.
I was actually about to watch Godfather Part 2 back to back. I got like the first minute into watching Godfather Part 2, and then looked at the clock. It's like, shit, I gotta start making supper. So I was like, what, like another day we'll watch whenever I have a day to do nothing, I'll watch the Godfather Part 2.
Yes. To be honest, I even enjoy part 3. It ties the trilogy, ties the story up nicely. It's not a patch on the others, but then again, I don't think anything ever could be. But yeah, have you seen part 3?
I have not seen part 3.
Part 3, yeah, part 3 got a lot of hate. A lot of it is because of Sofia Coppola's. No one can see it. I'm using air quotes. Acting. She's not the best in there. She rolled because she was obviously Francis Ford
daughter.
Yeah. Actually, her second role in the film, in the trilogy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's the baby that's being held in Connie's baby in the first one, in the wedding scene.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that is Sofia Coppola. That's
crazy.
There we go. Okay. Trivia knowledge. I have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, an absolutely fantastic film. Okay then. Nearly at the end. Nearly done. Name the film with the best soundtrack.
Tarzan. No ifs, ands, or buts. Tarzan is the best soundtrack ever. Phil Collins. Yeah. I know that's kind of a weird choice, but I fell in love with this as a kid, and it still hangs on to me to this day. I was actually listening to it this summer whenever I was driving home from work. Phil Collins, he takes you on this roller coaster of emotions. He takes the jungle theme, and he takes it to such this glorious tone, and it fits so well with the movie. You'll Be in My Heart, Two Worlds, One Family. Even the scat one that he does with that sync. It's playful and it's delightful. And then paired with the score in a film. I forget who does the score, but it's great. You definitely feel the emotion that's presented in that film.
No, it's the one that sticks out for me. I think it's Trashing the Camp. When Trash in the Camp,
hitting
the pots and pans, and it's the very This must be the same one, the scat one with
Scabadoo.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, that sticks out to me with it. But no, look, as I say, you can't go wrong with the Disney with the Disney soundtracks. They are all. I don't think there's been a Disney animated film with a bad soundtrack.
I don't know. I can't think of one.
Yeah, no, a good choice.
Yeah.
And off the wall one, there's not many that would think to go that way with it. No, brilliant.
No.
Fantastic. Okay then, penultimate. What's your favourite film franchise?
So I have one that I'm not sure if it counts, but if it doesn't count, I have a backup choice. My first choice is Pixar.
That absolutely choice. Yeah, it is a film franchise.
I mean they've pretty well, like, through fan theories and they kind of confirmed it as well that the films are all interlocked.
Yep.
And with the exception of a couple of duds, and I wouldn't even say they're duds, they're just ones that didn't really hit. Like Cars 2 and Cars 3, maybe Good Dinosaur. They've had classics.
No, absolutely.
I
enjoy 2.
Yeah.
For what it is, I enjoy Cars 2. Obviously, I mean.
Yeah.
Purely simply because my eldest was growing up when Cars first came out. When Cars first came out, he wore out the first DVD. We had to buy it again. It was on a constant loop. In the house somewhere. He was not in front of it all the while, but if it would finish, he would press play and it would go again, and he'd be off doing something else, playing with something else, something else. Was that
also Paul Newman's last performance?
I believe it was.
Yeah.
I believe it was. I'm pretty sure at the end of it they've got the credits of the later ones on there, in memory of Paul Newman and photos of on there. I think, pretty sure. But as you say, there's not many. I mean, Cars 3 was what it was, but there's not many that actually we can turn around and say that's a dud.
Yeah, and what they were able to do from 1995 until now, 23 years. 23 years. With the exception of a few. I mean, like we talked about it earlier, but like Toy Story, one of the best trilogies ever. If Finding Nemo ever has a third movie, it could easily, it wouldn't be like one of the top ones, but definitely a solid trilogy. I liked Finding Dory.
I did absolutely.
Yeah, I like and what they're able to do with the different emotions, like we were talking about it earlier. Up, Inside Out, Ratatouille was even a good film. Like these different color palettes and color aesthetics and all these different themes that they can provide in their films. Monsters Inc. as well. Monsters Inc. for me is probably like number 2 in terms of like best animated score ever, like that jazzy kind of feel.
Yep.
You get a very like 20s industrial kind of feel. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm just having a quick look on Box Office Mojo. 19 theatrically released Pixar films. Number 1 grossing, Finding Dory, 486 million. Total for 19 movies, $4.8 billion.
That's a lot of change.
That's a lot of change. Averaging out at 255 million per movie. That's, yeah. And looking down there, Finding Dory, Toy Story 3, Inside Out, Finding Nemo, Up, Monsters U, Incredibles, Monsters Inc., Toy Story 2, Cars, Brave, which doesn't. That's one that kind of slips through a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I remember it because my niece was absolutely. She was that character. She was Merida.
Oh yeah.
Visually as well as her temperament was absolutely. Just in case you're listening, hello Brody, because I know your mum listens, so maybe you never know. You've got a shout out. Yeah, absolutely. What was your backup, by the way?
MCU.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, yeah.
Toy Story 3, also the highest grossing film of 2010.
Yes.
That was a question that got me a win in one of the trivia leagues. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Fair play. Yeah, I cannot argue that Pixar absolutely, it's their own franchise. They are. They absolutely counts.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question. A little bit of fun. There's going to be a film made of your life. Okay, Brooklyn Vail the movie. Who would you A, want to play you if you're doing the casting, and B, the studio's got involved, hire a casting director, who would they play?
So, if the person that I would want to play me is actually one that I mentioned previously, Jon Favreau. Okay. I could definitely see him playing an older version of me, in terms of passion and like anger and just that emotional things. I relate to him the best. You could use maybe some of that de-aging technology. Like we have a similar build. Mm-hmm. So I think that'd be interesting, and it kind of gives some star name to a movie. Yeah. But in terms of an actor that would actually play me, that would be I might be butchering his last name, Ethan Suplee.
Okay.
Best known as playing Randy in My Name Is Earl.
Right. Okay. Yep. Now.
But like when you think of like if I give you the term mouth breather, he's like one of the first people that you think of. just like catching flies, like constantly has his mouth open, and that's me. Similar to my dad. My dad can't breathe throughout his nose, so he constantly always has his mouth open. So he had the nickname of Odie throughout high school and college.
Poor guy.
And there's nothing wrong with it as well. But yeah, I sometimes catch myself where my mouth is just completely dry, just because if you ever watch me competing in a trivia match, you'll always notice that my mouth is wide open, so I'm trying to think or something. But yeah, and it's just like this lovable goof that might not be the brightest person of the bunch, but just means well all around.
No, fantastic.
Yeah.
And we are done.
All right.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you once again to this week's guest, Brooklyn. Just to remind you guys, we're on iTunes as well as Stitcher and Podbean, so please subscribe, rate, review. It really does help, because then I can get to see how many people have actually got listening to me drone on week after week. If you've got any questions or comments, or indeed if you fancy being in the hot seat that Brooklyn has so ably filled this week, absolutely fantastic. Thank you once again. Brilliant episode this week. You can email the pod on thatmadeyourlist@outlook.com. We have our own Facebook page, That Made Your List, where you can find all the old episodes as well as a pinned post of the questions that we ask. And we also have our own Twitter feed on @ThatMadeYour. I've been Dave Goodger. He's been Brooklyn Vail, and this has been That Made Your List.